Hello and welcome from 2025 Diecast SuperCon at the Las Vegas. What is this? The Ahern. The Ahern. Yeah, I'm trying to talk like Brett Lawson. So, you guys, this is Brendan Allen. Over here is Steve Johnson. We got DJ Mikey good joining us. Paul Vato over there, I believe, has passed out.
Yeah, didn't take him long.
But also joining us is Brett Lawson. And the funniest thing for me this entire weekend
Hold on. Has he been there for the last 2 hours?
Yeah. No, we didn't wake him up after the Who the F live. Yeah, he's just been there.
No one woke him up. I saw Aaron try to wake him up earlier.
With a stick. He was poking him with a stick from off what is that, stage right.
Yeah.
So, no, the point I was making, though, is I think the biggest surprise for me this weekend was meeting Brett Lawson in person because he's got this very stage presence when he's on camera and he's talking, but that's not his stage presence. That is how this dude talks all the time. 100%, that energy is always.
I appreciate you noticing that because anytime someone asks me, like, how do you get in the mindset, right? How do you get in the right mood or whatever, the mentality to do a show, I'm all like, I do what I do to you. There's just a microphone in front of my face. That's really all it is.
So 100% authenticity. I thought it was a bit. It's not a bit. And I actually respect him a little bit more because he lives that 100% of the time.
No, this guy does. And seriously, he's always on, right? I mean, that's what it is. And when you see him and you watch him on Go Live Vegas and you see these things, and then even to see him, by the way, in a suit, because it took us, what did it take us, 3 or 4 episodes of the Game Day Huddle before we got him to start wearing
100%. 100%. We put on, for the sake of appearance, we put on quite the presentation in terms of the attire. By the time we were in episode 4 or 5, you were lucky if we were in t-shirt and gym shorts, right? Yeah.
Lucky if Steve's
That's how Mikey wants to roll. Mikey's going to wear his golf polo. He's going to be.
Love it.
Actually, Mikey, so let's do this. So DJ Mikey, the official Brand Jordan and Nike Golf DJ, he has been with us all weekend. He has been doing all of our music on the stage. He has done every single specialty sponsor event after hours. He's done all of those things. He even did the Marshall Walker party as well, which was right after stage programming. This guy's been going nonstop, and then he gets a day off, finally, on Monday, and turns around, and immediately he's off to the races. Where are you going now, man? You're always somewhere.
Yeah, I'm going to West Palm Beach, headed to Cognizant, the golf tournament, and then head to Players from there up in Jacksonville, and home for 5 days, and then back to Florida and do the rest of that swing, and travel.
Now that's rough life, but you do have a little one at home, and fairly recently, within the last few years, you became a father, and congratulations. A lot of people, if you haven't gotten a chance to meet Mikey, once you get in Mike's presence, you understand he is one of the most sincere, real people that I've ever met.
Can I speak on that really quick? Because I found out in the flesh working at Hall of Honor, I had kind of met Mikey briefly when we first started things, but since we were all so busy, we were kind of scattered. Yesterday, we really got to talk and connect while the show even was going on in between different segments, if you will. He's awesome. I was picking his brain about all kinds of things. He has background in radio and, broadcasting, production, all types of entertainment. And when you meet people in that line of work, much like Brendan, because that's what's so cool. I'm a big fan of what Brendan does with ComicCon.com and everything, and that's why when I was able to join your podcast with Paul over here when he was actually awake, that was cool because I got to see who Brendan was, and then meeting him in person, you get to kind of match it, and it's cool when the feeling you get about someone is confirmed when you finally meet them. And even though we were all busy and we had to do a lot at the in the convention, ultimately, that was
Paul, we're doing a show.
Yeah,
hey, babe,
Paul,
how's it going?
Paul, there you go. How's it going? You're at the Ahern Hotel, 2025 Las Vegas Super Convention.
It's a great show. Thanks. Such a great show. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for having me. It's been wonderful and just so exciting to be here.
This is our Emmy children and family
The NyQuil is strong with this one, but ultimately to wrap it up in terms of what I was just saying though, Brendan and Mikey and Shannon and Mad Mike and everyone involved, that was really the pleasure of it all. Just getting to connect with them and work with them, but also get to know them. And that's what's so cool about these conventions. You meet people from the same line of work, but who have similar passions and interests. And like Brendan said, there's really no off switch. Whether we're on air or not, the conversation kind of remains the same.
And that brings me back, one of our favorite guys, Fireball had some things that he had to do this weekend that came up unexpectedly, but Fireball Tim was going to be here. And if you ask Fireball Tim at any convention he's at what his favorite part of the convention was, he will always tell you the same answer, which is
It's the people.
It's the people.
It's 100%. And the way he takes it, and this culture that the Diecast Super Convention has really brought along, it gives you that opportunity. And some of the things we did this week, and I like to be able to talk about this because I think it's really important to kind of showcase how the community of Diecast really works, is we in the past took and created, like almost like you'd have an artist alley at a Comic-Con, right? We have taken and we would create tables for our creators, which is the designers, right? And the designers would sit at their tables and they would sign, and it was fun and it was cool. But we, over the last couple of years, really identified that let's go ahead and have them be part of the general public, the general population. So guys are walking around, and it's whether it's a diecast designer or someone who's been big in the influencing in the automotive industry to the diecast world, to see a Peter Brock walk this floor yesterday amongst all the fans, who is an absolute legend, and to be at the car show and handing out awards and having a good time with everybody, and coming last night to the Hall of Honor and being mentioned by multiple guests that are there, that the key thing for them was that he was on the floor with them. These type of cultural things is really what we've tried to create. And I think we executed really well. So if you ever get a chance to attend a Diecast Super Convention, you're going to get the opportunity to see your favorites, to see the people that you idolize, to see the designers that you love so much. And that's such a key component. And Brendan, from going to all these comic conventions, there's a lot of times, we even joked about it a little bit on our podcast, about the whole Comic-Con cruise thing and certain people being on a boat for 3 days with, fanatic fans that would beat down your doors at 3 a.m. finding you, how hard that would be. And in this environment, you have designers that literally have designed diecast for years. They're a fan of the hobby, and they're in the in-room trading, and they have their doors open, and they have items to trade, and you can come in and trade items with them. You've never seen this before.
No, that's a very, very new thing to me, is the in-room trading. And it was still going on as this show was winding down. People were like, oh, I got to hit every room because, hey, they don't want to take those things all back with them. So now in the last hours of the 11th hour, you're looking at, what stock you have, what you can get rid of, how quick you can get rid of it, and what you can get for it before, so you don't have to pack it all back home. And people are going around searching for those last minute deals. But that in-room trading, man, that's a whole culture that I had no idea even existed.
Yeah, and with the in-room trading, and Mikey, you've now, what is this, your 5th Diecast Super Convention you've been involved with? And you've yourself, who wasn't a big diecast collector when you first came into the hobby space, you were someone that, you loved action figures, you were a Lego fan, and then all of a sudden, diecast, and you saw the culture and you dove in. Now that you're 5 years into this transition of, look, welcome to the hobby, you're in, how is that really shaped when you attend these events, going to the in-room trading, to be at these parties, to see the activations?
Yeah, the in-room trading, it's nuts. It's 8 floors in this hotel of just in-room trading. It's nuts, unbelievable. And yeah, like you said, Brendan, it's all hours of the day, right? 10 o'clock at night, midnight. People are running through the rooms at 1 o'clock in the morning with their doors open. But to answer that question, it's been an awesome experience to see this grow, especially the Hall of Honor dinner. Growing pains are always good things to happen, and it's just a matter of time before we're going to outgrow this space. And the collector community, like what everybody was saying, this community base is amazing, right? Everybody recognizes each other's faces, and everybody recognizes each other's names. And we see each other. There's people, like you said, I've seen for the past 5 years, once a year here. And I'll do the same thing when I go on tour with some of my other vendors. I'll see some of these other folks in Florida that I'll see only in Florida once a year. And you get these communities and people with like-minded, aspirations, right? And so that's where you just get so much passion behind everybody. And And it's really exciting to see. And it, like I said, it just keeps growing and growing. And it's
You know what I love to hear right here is the fact that the first thing that was most impressionable after 5 years of being here was a Hall of Honor, right? Because the Hall of Honor is such a special thing to us here at the Diecast Super Convention because we recognize those in the hobby space that are doing positive things to contribute to the space. Recognizing fans within the Hall of Honor and celebrities. We watch Catherine Bach, John Snyder, Tom Wopat, Eric Estrada, Larry Wilcox all get inducted last night. And then you turn around the corner and we see an Eric Velasco who's receiving, a recognition because of things that have happened within his family. And then to take it even a further moment and, it must be absolutely mentioned that this entire weekend was dedicated to the Sanfratello family.
And what a tribute that was. That was as beautiful of a tribute as you could ever possibly see. I feel better at getting to watch that and be a part of it. And I didn't even get the chance to meet him, and yet I was so happy that story was able to be told and on this type of platform.
And Ryan Ochoa, who was here in attendance, right? And Ryan, is from iCarly.
Yeah.
He's a director and has some great stuff. And they were on the stage earlier today
with
and got to see everybody. Ryan came up to me this morning and he says, he goes, you guys last night, that tribute to Tom and what happened there moved people to tears, is what he said. Mm-hmm. And he goes, I didn't get to know Tom, but there were people at my table who knew Tom.
Yeah.
And he referenced the fact that Noel G specifically was sitting across the table from him. And when the picture went up of Tom on the stage, after we'd been talking about Tom so much, he went ahead and was like, oh my gosh, he was always great to me. I loved being around him because Tom had been around for so many years. And to recognize the family, and I think it's important to mention a few of these things, is one, so Nicole came out, who was his fiance. His son Ian came out as well, and Ian's fiance came out and joined us for the weekend. And they got to experience the highs and the lows of emotions because they were, it was scary to come out because here's the environment that he was loved and thrived in. But by the time this weekend was over, the community itself and how it embraced that family and those people and really cared for them, and you saw it happen from the jump of the show all the way through, was absolutely amazing.
And that's like the key theme for me. Mikey just said it, you reiterated it there, community, because the story with Peter Brock that Brendan told me when I first got on the ground here on Friday, or it was yesterday when he told me about it, but when I first got on site here yesterday, I thought that was so cool because it was so genuine. He did a great job hosting that segment with the interview and everything in between, but you also saw how much it meant to you. You also saw how much that opportunity not only meant for you and your brand, but it just meant for the whole convention because that's what that convention's all about. It's about the intertwining of worlds that are still kind of in the same umbrella. You get to connect and you get to kind of tap into areas previously you didn't really get to do so, right? Comic-Con.com is huge, but how often are you going to get to talk to someone like Peter Brock in that avenue? But when you come here, it's going to be a lot more, right? The carryover, the transition is going to be there. So now you could come from your field, come into this, where you're still very well versed in everything auto, but now you could do that as well. It was awesome to see.
It caught me off guard, honestly.
Right.
Steve does this to me a lot. Actually, this is part of his MO. Is where he's
an agent of chaos.
He sets me up for something that he knows is going to be so awesome and so meaningful, and doesn't tell me what it is or that it's going to happen. He just sits back and watches, and sometimes I look over and he's got a little gleam in his eye, and I don't know why. But we ended up at BRE Enterprises, and it was amazing. And then we get here, and Steve is in what's the party room called upstairs?
It's the showroom, but
the showroom. So Steve is in the showroom, and he's talking about something to somebody, and I have to go in there and drop my equipment in the little back room. And I go back there, and Peter Brock is sitting on the couch. And I have no idea, but you knew that I was going back there, and you knew he was in there, and you knew, and I just sat there for like 15 minutes talking to him about the split window Corvette and all these different cars, and he's just such a genuine, down-to-earth person, but that is an experience you can't buy. And that's something that you gave to me, and there's no way that I can repay that to you because that was such an incredible moment, and it blew me away. I was not speechless. I sat there and
No,
talked
100%.
to him. But
It was a real, genuine reaction. Like, you could tell it meant a lot to him. And that's why I was so happy to see it, because you got to see the hype before, then you got to see it actually unfold on stage, and then you get to see the appreciation after. That's all what it's about. It's about excitement, delivery, and appreciation, and the super convention really offers all of that.
You know, and I definitely think that all of these great moments are a big part of it. And, you know, we had companies like Greenlight who produced a exclusive for, you know, Tom's family to be able to sell. And it was 100% of the proceeds went to Ian and the family, right? And we did that thing. And then you have all of these other great exclusives that came out. But I really think we are doing a disservice if we don't talk about how community-driven Cartooned has come and what they did this week here. They were for sure the belle of the ball. And it started at their party on Thursday night, and the way that they interacted with the crowd and they built with that community and showcased that, they did such a great job to really roll out what their plans for their brand were. And then they understood exclusivity. They understood the value of inclusivity, right? They understood how to unlock that and really give it back to the people that are here to see them and be part of that. And so for them to be able to do that, to be able to put forth that type of an effort and really showcase what it was. And look, there were things that they did that were asks, and they were kind of big asks, right? We had the dinner car they produced for us, which was already a big ask as it was. Then they went ahead and ran the red bottom chases. Then they ran the double drips, which are super limited, right? Mm-hmm. We saw one of those items in a package of the dinner exclusive, the red bottom, a t-shirt, and the double drip sell for $6,000 at the charity auction. We saw an individual double drip sell for $4,000 by itself at the charity auction. And they gave stuff like that away. And it looks like my little guys are taking off. Appreciate it. Love both of you guys. And of course, make sure you're good for your mom, okay? I gotta tell you that, all right? But again, you guys, you see a company like that giving back to the community and doing such great things. And they're incorporating, and Mikey, you saw it because they went, and we were just gonna recognize the guys from Diecast Breakdown on the stage. We wanted to recognize Brendan for all of his contributions to the show. And we wanted to recognize Mikey for all the contributions that he was providing to the show. And as I was telling them that, Louis Tanahara says, well, I want to make sure they get a dinner car. Okay. He goes, so we're going to make sure they get a dinner car. And right before the dinner, he comes over and he gifts dinner cars to provide to you guys. And when we get them, I look and he gifts you guys red bottoms. And honestly, and he gifted me a double drip. And to be able to be that type of person that knows that the hottest thing this weekend were those items, and he was giving them away, and they gave them away at the dinner. Yeah. They gave them away in spinner wheel sessions, which is what they were, and they gave them away at their party. And yes, our partners at Jada did great giveaways with the items that they had. But the way Cartoon did it was innovating, and I do believe that if manufacturers can come with that type of energy, and Mike, you've seen it for years now. We didn't have the manufacturers on the floor and everything. And to now see the guys like Neverland with such great energy, to see IXO America come in with an exclusive for the show, and to see Cartoon and Jada put out items like this, I mean, you see a huge difference, I can only bet.
Yeah, it's again the growth to see that one, the different manufacturers, and then two, the exclusives that they are manufacturing for these events or for this show specifically, right? And that Cartoon Chase we're talking about, there's only 1,200 of those cars made, and then the same thing with some of the IXO cars, 200, and then Jada had 96 Porsches there, which were on fire, right? So there's a ton of cool exclusives, and then your designers that are doing some drops. Michael Herrera did a sick Skyline drop yesterday. But yeah, some of the exclusives that you guys do and the partners with that is awesome. So
You know, I'm going to be honest with you guys. It has been an absolutely long week. We have been here.
I was
Look,
going to say that I think the recharge is needed for about everybody.
This is
Exception, especially.
This is external
just because
for Paul
you've been
right
busy.
now. You see him yawning and nodding off and stuff like that, but he's doing physically right now what we all wish we could be doing is taking a nap.
I mean, guys, I'm exhausted. I had to get up today around noon. Sorry I missed yesterday. I was
What
sleeping all
time
day.
did you get to the show floor today,
But
Steve?
this is brutal, brutal, guys. So thank you. Thanks for having me.
Paul's
Now
call
I'm just
time.
going to have to hold this for him.
Paul's call time today was at 1 p.m. He woke up at 12 and rolled in here 5 minutes before we started, and he's already tired.
Can I ask you one question, though? Because I've worked a couple of conventions of different styles with you, Steve, really quick before we wrap. What is the biggest way you recharge? Because I know you're needed on the One of Us comics front and everything with game day, but in terms of like how you kind of press the reset button and turn the page on what a convention is wrapped and how you look forward to what's to come, do you just kind of like step away from it all for a few days or what?
Let me actually point this out to you. What happened last night?
Oh boy.
What happened last night? We're at the Jada party, and what?
he turned into a different person. So we're at the Jada party, and then Steve hops on the turntables, and everybody turns around and looks at me. He's like, "Hey, man, I didn't know that Steve's a DJ."
Oh, hell yeah.
Actually, Steve taught me how to DJ. That's a crazy story.
I got to see it for the first time when we were at First Friday not too long ago. I'm all like, oh man, where have you been this whole time? So I love it. I love it. If anything, just get on the ones and twos, blow off some steam.
Well, and that's exactly it. Is it once we get to that point where the Hall of Honor has happened, and that is probably of the show production the most stressful part for us, because we expect it to be excellent, and when we make missteps and we have things, and look, we're human and things happen, and we're still learning and building and growing what we're doing there. But once we get past that point, I've identified as that Saturday night is kind of where we let loose, right? And we do. And so it was great. We had Mikey goes up and he starts the Jada party, and everyone's getting their dinner cards, and there's all this energy out here, and they're coming up to the showroom, and we get in, and Jada, by the way, had an incredible tunnel a campaign that was built, and they did some really, really cool things with visuals showing all the new stuff they had going on and everything, and showcased, and this was key, they showcased the designers and their team that was here. And that allowed you, the fan, to connect with them, right? And we get up there to the party, and I see we've got fans in the building, and we've got other manufacturers. We had our friends at Hot Wheels there. Matchbox was in the building. You had your friends from Neverland there. You had Greenlight in the building. You had these guys from XO America, like supporting this party, this rap party from Jada. When I go in and I see and I walk in and Mikey's DJing, and 15 minutes later, Tony Karamitos is up on the turntables DJing.
Another designer for round 2, by the way. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's over there and he's rocking it and everything. And then half an hour later, I go over, I jump on and, start rocking. Like, that was for us, and I can tell you, that was probably the moment of the convention for Mikey and I to really kind of sit back and be like, we've gotten to a point with this show to where this is the type of rap show, this is the type of thing that occurs. This is where it shows that, like, this has really been fun. So I know that's a long answer to what you were asking.
No, I love it, though, because that's exactly what I was wondering. And I love how the fact it took place before technically the convention even wrapped. It's cool how those kind of profound moments happen before we even do this wrap-up show. Because
Right.
It shows that you kind of go into the last day, recharge with what you need to be, or where you need to be, because that Hall of Honor is now out of the way.
Now, I will say, and I know this from years of experience with conventions and with festivals and things like that, the planning for next year's show has already started.
Oh, yeah.
These guys do not take a break. So this year's show has been a year in the making, and next year's show started last month. I mean, they've already started making plans for the next Diecast convention, which I don't know how you're going to top what you did this year, and I'm excited to see it next year. Tentatively, we've already talked about me coming back next year. I would like to come back. I would like to see what happens next year, because this already blew my mind, and I know you're only going bigger and better from here.
Well, and the way that we're able to do that and to be able to top it is working with our partners. See, and it is as important that our partnerships, and it starts with our grassroots level with House of Cars, right? Which House of Cars and the licensees and the headquarters owns the Diecast Super Convention. So them taking the retail side and supporting the show just from the jump was already the baseline for everything.
Right.
But getting companies like Jada involved, getting Ixo America, getting Greenlight in, getting our friends over, even the Diecast Shack sponsoring the Dukes, Johnny from the Toy Shack, sponsoring Pop Shack and Matt. All of our partners, Platinum Protectors, I could keep going down the list, right? We have all of these great partners that contribute things to the show to help create the experience. We talked about that on the Wrap Show the other day, but really when we're wrapping the convention and making this kind of like the last thing that we visually see from the convention as far as programming goes, you really have to tip the cap to the people that get involved, the customizers that are out here doing things, the Cemed wheels that provide all of the wheels for the Code 3 items that we produce, Platinum Protectors who provided all of our protective equipment, for the convention, right? To turn around and to recognize and see all of these people that came and got involved to create the support, and then to see it come at another level. That, I think, is where you see us continue to scale this, because we tell our partners this all the time, right? We are not trying to scale our brand. We are trying to scale all of our brands. And that's important to make sure that Mikey gets the right accolades and gets mentioned and gets noticed, and to get the recognition in front of people. And Brendan Allen and ComicCon.com getting their recognition. And the Brett Lawsons of the world coming up and getting the recognition and their involvement in Las Vegas culture and being part of Go Live Vegas. And then the Paul Vatos of the world, who basically do a great job sleeping anywhere, but more importantly, coming out, supporting, being involved, and doing things, helping push the publicity and whatever it is, and being involved at the show. And Aaron with Go Live Vegas, making sure that all of our content gets produced, gets out there. You guys all contribute to how this show gets better in the next few years.
Thank you. I mean, coming from the outside in, you guys did such a fantastic job. So everyone, I think, obviously deserves a round of applause. From the staff, the vendors, just for me. Again, I've been to many conventions and many expos, and from the outside, it looked flawless. Maybe it's like a duck on water where the legs are paddling, but the duck is just floating on top. You guys made it look flawless, and so congratulations on something very huge and exciting. Thank you.
And thank you very much, and that means a ton, especially when you mention our staff, right? Because none of this happens without the staff that we have. A lot of these people volunteer their time, right? Brendan Allen, for example, flew himself here to do this, right? And put himself in a hotel room to do this event, to support this event, right? And then to turn around and have people who give up their time, Chris in the crowd here and his wife coming out and supporting us all throughout the weekend, right? And being an integral part of what we did. And to have that is incredible. I do have to, before we go though, I will mention that we do have the dates for the 2026 show, but we are not sharing them today. We will be putting that out on the social media platforms, the website. We will announce that out. Part of the reason for that, we like to give our returning vendors that information just a tick early, right? And to be able to do that. But we will be coming back in 2026.
Fair game.
We are coming back here to the Ahern. It will be hosted here. It will be an exciting time, and everyone will have a good time. And our friends at Jada have decided to return as the title sponsor for the next 2 years. We also have multi-year contracts in place from our friends at Greenlight, Ixo America, the Pop Shack with Neverland.
Neverland.
You keep going. I keep doing that to you on purpose. But no, because of that support and because of these things, we will be coming back in 2026 with a very strong program and a lot of fun things. And finally, I want to mention the fact that our friends at Diecast Breakdown, who helped curate all of the information that we were putting out, and to be able to follow along and to showcase it and to bring those people in, I need to make sure that those guys get their recognition as well, because they were an integral part to this show as our stage programming, as the activations, as the events, all of those things. Those guys killed it.
And that was what's so cool on the Go Live Vegas front, if I could just say really quick. Working with them was great, because sometimes when you get two entities combining at a convention, maybe not necessarily tension, but it doesn't always fit seamlessly. For them it was. They were a blast to work with. They made everything on the Go Live Vegas front very easy. And again, in terms of the Go Live Vegas front, we also want to give a special shout out to Roy and Raquel Ellikis, who were a huge help down on the ground here at the Ahern Hotel the past few days, along with everything myself, Aaron, Brendan, Steve, and everyone in between was doing. So thank you guys all so much on that front as well. And again, thank you guys on the Diecast front, because you welcomed us with open arms, and it's easy to do what we do when you make it that smooth.
Well, Brendan, it's been a long week. We still got a load out. We got great vendors in the building that are tearing down their spaces now, looking forward to 2026.
You know, it's pretty amazing looking out here and seeing how dead it is now and how alive it was just a couple hours ago.
Yeah.
But it is time. We're actually a little bit over. So I think we need to wrap it up. We got DJ Mikey over there on the far left. I got Steve Johnston to my left. You know him. That's Brett Lawson, and that giant big-ass hedgehog on the end over there.
He's awake now.
Mr. Paul Vato. I'm Brendan Allen for Comic-Con.com. From the bottom of my heart, thank you very much. Diecast SuperCon 2025 has come to a close.
Thank you, everyone. And again, we will see you in 2026. I'm excited to say that this wraps the 2025 Diecast Super Convention presented by Jada and our friends at Majorette. Have a great night, and we'll see you next year.